And joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Senator, it's great to have you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Maria. Good morning.
Well, congratulations to you on this incredible 6 months, getting the big, beautiful bill across the finish line, now into law, as well as this week with the digital assets and the rescission packages. Talk to us about your priorities right now, and when will the American people feel the impact of all of this?
Hopefully soon. I think the American people will. And the nice thing about getting all this done before, particularly the one big beautiful bill before the 4th of July recess, Maria, is that it has a lot of time to get into effect and to impact people's lives. And of course, the goal behind all this was to make the lives of working Americans, middle-income Americans, better, to strengthen their families, allow them to keep more of what they earn. And this part of the president's agenda, and it's a big part of the president's agenda, was designed to impact those very Americans. And so we're grateful we got it passed, and I think you'll start to see the effects of that soon. But, you know, there's always more to do, for sure. But we've had an incredibly successful and productive 6 months. The president's agenda is being accomplished piece by piece in a way that I think is going to benefit the American people by making our country safer and stronger and more prosperous.
Well, you had to walk a real balance, trying to placate some of your members who were pushing back on the bill while also ensuring you had the necessary votes. And you did that. Probably one of the most important pieces here is that you made the tax cuts permanent.
It is, and I think one of the things that we really fought for in that, Maria, was to make those tax cuts permanent. And I think if you're looking, a lot of the folks that you talk to out there, the one thing they want is economic certainty and ensuring that people can make decisions now based on tax policy that's going to be in effect, making the bonus depreciation, deduction of interest, also R&D expensing, those types of things permanent, I think will increase incentives for capital investment in this country, which creates better paying jobs, raises the standard of living for everyone, and in the long run generates more government revenue. I mean, if you want to get the budget balance in this country, we've got to restrain spending, which we are also working on, but you need pro-growth policies and taxes and regulations and energy that generate more economic growth, because growth also leads to more government revenue. And so it's one way of the many ways that we need to look at to try and get our fiscal situation back into balance and to return some fiscal sanity to our country.
And of course, with all of your success, no doubt, many are now saying, what's next? And they're looking ahead. I know you've got 12 appropriations bills to take care of. And unfortunately, you didn't have any help from the Democrats in the last couple of months, but you will need help from the Democrats come September. So are you expecting to do a continuing resolution? What does the future look like in terms of those appropriations bills?
You are correct. We are going to need to get appropriations done. That will require some cooperation from the Democrats, and hopefully they will be willing to make sure that the government is funded. We got to do the defense authorization bill. That's an annual thing that we have to do around here. Russia sanctions is something that is on our agenda, and we're kind of working with the White House and coordinating schedules to make sure that we do that at the right time in terms of their negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. And so there's a whole series of things, including the appropriation bills, that we want to get done. But funding the government has to be done before the end of the fiscal year, which is October the 1st. And so we've got to figure out a way to start trying to move appropriation bills. We've got three or four of them now reported out of the Appropriations Committee. We're going to try and get one up on the floor next week, and I hope we will find that the Democrats want to work with us. They haven't demonstrated much of a willingness on anything so far. I mean, they are making it extremely difficult to get any of the president's nominees through the process here. It's obstruct, it's delay, it's block. That's been the pattern, and it's Trump derangement syndrome on full display here in the United States Senate. But in spite of that, we've gotten a lot done, and we're going to get more done. But I hope at some point, particularly when it comes to funding the government, we can get some cooperation from Democrats.
I mean, do you think Chuck Schumer would like to see a government shutdown come September?
I think he probably thinks that it's beneficial to their political base, the far left of the Democrat Party, and you can kind of see what's happening up there in New York politics. This is a party struggling for an identity. This is a party that's completely out of step with the mainstream of this country. And I think, frankly, although it's not going to be in their interest in the long term to do it, we're going to be waiting to see anxiously what Chuck Schumer and other leaders on the Democrat side decide to do, because ultimately, keeping the government funded is good for the country, and hopefully we'll have bipartisan cooperation to do that. But if their recent track record is any indication, they're under a tremendous amount of pressure from that far left wing of the Democrat Party to shut the government down. But I hope they think better of it.
Well, it's incredible what we're seeing in New York. I mean, do you see a tone and a pivot towards socialism within your colleagues on the left?
It's pretty remarkable, really, Maria, that in our country, there was not that long ago when you had so-called, blue dog Democrats, and President Clinton now would look like he looked like a far-right winger, and because they have moved so far to the left, and they're getting pulled further and further in that direction, and that mayoral election in New York is probably the best and most recent indication of this sort of shift toward socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it. I mean, these people are moving far left, and they believe in more government control and more power in Washington, D.C. As you know, we've always believed in distributing power, getting it out of Washington, back in the hands of the American people, where they can do the things and make the differences in their families and their communities. So it's a clear difference in philosophy when it comes to how to run this country, and the Democrats clearly are being pulled now further and further to the left, and I think that makes it harder and harder for them to win elections in this country.
Well, I've got to tell you, every time I speak with business managers and CEOs, they tell me that America is back. Things are booming. So your work is being felt wide and deep. But I did speak with the CEO and chairman of Chevron this weekend, and he is still worried about certain permitting rules. And I want to get your take on what he had to say. Here's what he said.
The broader issue is for permitting that involves multiple agencies that may cut across state lines or involve more complex issues. We still need a better process from a federal standpoint. We need lead agencies. We need timelines. We need limits on subsequent litigation that can be used to drag projects out for years and years and years. And so there's some things that I think legislatively can help what we're seeing now, which are great first steps, but can be more structural and enduring over time that enable this permit reform to last and to help us build things in this country.
Of course, their investing is very much long-term, Senator.
It is, and I totally appreciate where he's coming from, Maria. I think that is a desperately needed reform. It's something that will require, again, some Democrats. It takes 60 to do that in the Senate. But I will tell you, I am hearing, believe it or not, some interest among Democrats in doing something on permitting reform, because not only is it slowing down and grinding to a halt a lot of conventional energy projects, but they're also renewable projects, things that Democrats support, that that we need to get cited, to get permitted, to deal with litigation reform that comes in the wake of all this. There are a series of things that have to be done if we're going to keep our country competitive and make sure that it doesn't take 20 years to get a project ultimately up and going. So I'm a big fan of permitting reform. If we can find some Democrats to work with us, I think that could be something that could be a real bipartisan win for the country, because it'll keep our country competitive and stronger.